AppHarbor.
Okay.
So that's one perspective.
So we're in the middle of a .NET development right now on Amazon, and we were talking a little bit yesterday, and one of our challenges is that, at least on Amazon, it takes 15 to 30 minutes for a new Windows instance to boot up and become available, mostly because of licensing and password configuration. So how are you solving that, and do you have the same problem as that, or can you go faster than that?
So we have the same problem internally, but it's important to notice that AppHarbor runs all the servers. So the users are never interfacing with servers directly. And we have a lot of servers that are already running, which means that we can deploy applications within 15 seconds after they're created on AppHarbor, which is a tremendous difference compared to Amazon and what they're doing. And there is the added value in that they don't have to run servers, in that we can manage them entirely, and we can make sure that they're updated, and they don't need to like restart the servers or anything. They won't experience downtime due to server maintenance. We take care of that.
So, you know, Microsoft developers use Microsoft because they like a nice, happy place, and they basically swallow it all, right? It's like, I'm going to develop in .NET and C# and use SQL Server and SharePoint and blah, blah, blah. What keeps people from not wanting to use Azure but wanting to use you? And then what's on your roadmap that's not on the Azure roadmap in, like, let's say the next 24 months?
I think there are changes in the Windows development community. I think Windows developers are becoming increasingly aware that other solutions exist out there, and it's not always the Microsoft branded one that's the right one. And due to this, I think we have an opportunity, because people are not just looking at Microsoft today, they're looking at the whole array of options that they have available. I think that's mostly
what market segment would you say that is?
But apart from, sorry?
What market segment would you say is starting to evaluate things differently? Large companies, medium-sized, individual developers?
So yeah, that was actually one of the slides. But
yeah.
So until we went we made our product GA in February, we've been running in public beta for over a year. And I think as a platform as a service, you have to prove your worth, and you have to prove that you're a reliable host, and that takes time to build up. After we went GA in February, we've actually seen increased interest from ISVs and enterprises that are dabbling and trying our software out. And I think that's the most important thing, because we're not asking banks to come and put all their most critical transaction processing on AppHarbor right now, but we're asking them to take it for a trial, maybe take a less critical project, put it on AppHarbor, and see if you can start transitioning more and more of your stuff onto AppHarbor. Because we do offer value there, and even enterprise can take part of that value, even though we don't host their mission-critical apps right now.
I'm glad you mentioned a few of those things around the enterprise, because one of the challenges that we have, especially for some of our banking clients, is PII, and being very, very cautious about how we handle personal information. In our case, we do a lot of that through VPC, the virtual private cloud on Amazon. Like, how would we be able to use your service in a case where we couldn't let your team see any of our data? Is that possible?
Yeah, so you could, one way of doing it, and I just want to get enterprises started using it. One way would be to simply have the front end, maybe just a web front end running on AppHarbor, and then have your own backend that front end can contact. Because it's likely that your front end will receive a lot more traffic than the back end will, and you can keep that behind your firewalls and do all that, and then still interface with that through an API, for instance. So that would be like my first suggestion for that, I think.
So going back to what you said earlier about how you see more of the .NET development community starting to use non-Microsoft technologies, now Microsoft will be aware of that themselves, so what's to say that Azure will not actually start, being able to accommodate that sort of developers as well? Like, how do you plan on either handling that, or do you just not see that happening, period, or?
Oh, I see it happening. I think Windows, Azure, and Microsoft are definitely aware of what's going on here, and I think that they're trying to get those partnerships in place. That takes time, of course, but they're adding stuff all the time, but it's still a limited ecosystem, and as long as they don't have a critical mass of customers using Windows Azure, it's unlikely that we'll see as many service providers on Windows Azure as we're currently seeing on Amazon Web Services, which was why we made that choice to begin with. But yeah, Windows Azure will certainly start having other services from other providers as well in the future. I believe so.
And then AWS itself actually just launched an app store which looks remarkably similar to yours, where I can pick different AMIs, which include Windows technology, SendGrid or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And so what's your delta of differentiation between AppHarbor and then what AWS provides for .NET developers?
Oh, excuse me, Garrett?
What do you provide on top of AWS for a .NET developer that AWS doesn't provide?
Well, if you buy instances of Amazon, you have to manage them, you have to run them, you have to spin them up. You don't get all the integration between third-party service providers and AppHarbor. Amazon doesn't do that. And I think it's essentially, we've created a tool here for continuously deploying to the cloud, which is not possible in the same way with Amazon Web Services directly. Mm-hmm. Also, Amazon's strategy seems to be that they're focusing on EC2, on the compute, and on an infrastructure level. And they do add platform-ish feature or higher-level features. But yeah, we're as I also said, I just got to say, we are a relatively small company that can act quickly, and that's why I really believe that we will stay ahead in the game, because we're aware of, and we've built up experience already in terms of how to actually do this, because it's not an easy task to run a multi-tenant setup on Windows-based instances, and I'm looking forward to see other providers coming up with a solution for it, because I know how hard it is to accomplish.
All right, so time is up. I have a quick question, if you can answer very briefly. How long can you sustain being just a Windows or a .NET platform, right? Do you have to go polyglot, as they say at some point?
Yeah, I can't go into too many details there, but I would say that I think that the Windows market and the opportunity in that space is big enough right now. And I certainly think that there are other providers out there that provide excellent service for a LAMP stack, for instance. So for now, we're focusing on Windows and .NET.
Great. Thank you, Rune.
Thank you.
All right, and up next, we have Reeve Thompson from Cabana.